Life is a journey full of challenges, joys, struggles, and moments of growth. Along this path, we often face situations that test us, but also present opportunities to learn and transform. At our core, we all desire to become better versions of ourselves, to reach our goals, and to live a fulfilling life. The Bible, as an eternal source of wisdom, offers fundamental principles that can guide us through this process of personal growth and reflection. Throughout its pages, we find words that motivate us to overcome, strengthen our character, and seek a higher purpose. The first lesson the Bible teaches us about personal growth is that life is not easy, but it is worth living with purpose. In 1 Corinthians 9 verses 24 to 27, the Apostle Paul compares the Christian life to a race. He speaks of the importance of running with discipline, not being complacent, and striving to win the prize. He reminds us that we must be intentional in our efforts and committed to a higher calling. Growth doesn't come without effort. It takes hard work, dedication, and a clear focus on the goal ahead. Just as an athlete trains and disciplines his body for the race, we too must discipline our minds, hearts, and actions to grow into the people God has called us to be. One of the most powerful aspects of growth is the ability to change, to evolve, and to transform. The Bible speaks often about the renewal of our minds and spirits. Romans 12 verse 2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This verse invites us to break free from the limitations of our old ways of thinking and living. The world may teach us to focus on temporary pleasures, material success, or self-centered ambitions, but God calls us to something greater, to a life of purpose, service, and love. To grow personally, we must allow God to renew our minds and shape our hearts according to His will. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but as we surrender ourselves to God's work within us, we begin to experience a deep and lasting change. Another critical element of personal growth is understanding that challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. James 1 verses 2 to 4 reminds us, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." This passage teaches us that trials are an essential part of the Christian journey. Rather than avoiding difficulties, we are called to embrace them as tools for building strength and resilience. Our character is refined through the challenges we face, and perseverance becomes a vital trait that leads us to maturity. Growth does not happen in a comfortable, easy place. It often emerges through struggles and hardships that teach us endurance, patience, and faith. In addition to perseverance, faith is at the heart of personal growth. Hebrews 11 verse 1 defines faith as confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Growth requires that we trust in God's promises even when we cannot yet see the outcome. Faith is not just about believing in God, but also about believing in ourselves and in the potential He has placed within us. God has created each of us with unique gifts, talents, and purpose, and He calls us to step out in faith, trusting that He will guide us on the path to fulfillment. Sometimes, the journey requires taking steps into the unknown, but faith empowers us to move forward with confidence, knowing that God is with us every step of the way. The Bible also emphasizes the importance of humility in the process of personal growth. James 4 verse 10 says, "Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will lift you up." Humility is not about thinking less of ourselves, but about thinking of ourselves less. It is about acknowledging that we are not the center of the universe, that we are dependent on God, and that our growth comes from His grace, not our own efforts alone. Humility allows us to receive instruction, to learn from others, and to recognize that we do not have all the answers. When we approach growth with a humble heart, we open ourselves to transformation and guidance from God, who can lead us to greater things than we could ever imagine on our own. Equally important to personal growth is the concept of love. In 1 Corinthians 13, the Apostle Paul defines love as the greatest of all virtues. He writes, "And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love." 1 Corinthians 13 verse 13. Love is not just an emotion. It is a choice, an action, and a way of living. As we grow, we are called to love others as Christ has loved us. This kind of love requires patience, kindness, and sacrifice. It is through love that we build meaningful relationships, serve others, and fulfill our purpose. Love is the foundation upon which all other virtues are built, and it is through love that we truly reflect the image of God in our lives. When we allow love to shape our actions and attitudes, we grow not only in character but also in our ability to positively impact the world around us. Growth, however, is not solely an individual pursuit. It is part of a larger community and purpose. In Ecclesiastes 4 verses 9 to 12, we read that two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. Personal growth is not meant to be a solitary journey. We are called to live in community, to encourage one another, and to support each other as we grow. Sometimes the greatest lessons come from the people around us. Whether it's through shared experiences, mentorship, or simply offering a listening ear, others play an important role in our growth process. We are better together, and it is through fellowship and connection that we experience the fullness of God's plan for our lives. As we reflect on these principles, we begin to see that personal growth is not just about self-improvement in the traditional sense, but about becoming more aligned with God's will for our lives. It is about becoming the person He created us to be, fulfilling the purpose He designed for us, and reflecting His love and grace to the world. This growth is not achieved through our own strength or effort, but through His power working within us. Philippians 1 verse 6 gives us hope and assurance in this process. Being confident of this, that He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. This verse reminds us that our growth is a lifelong process, one that God is faithful to complete. He is with us every step of the way, guiding us, shaping us, and empowering us to become the people we were meant to be. Even when we stumble or feel discouraged, we can take comfort in knowing that God's work in us is not finished. He is continually refining us, drawing us closer to Him, and helping us grow in ways we cannot yet fully comprehend. In conclusion, personal growth is a journey of transformation, perseverance, faith, humility, and love. It is about embracing challenges as opportunities, trusting in God's promises, and allowing Him to shape us into the people He has created us to be. As we grow, we must remember that we are never alone in this journey. God is with us, guiding us, and working within us to bring about the fullness of His purpose. With His help, we can overcome any obstacle, grow in character, and become more like Christ each day. The road may not always be easy, but it is a road worth walking, for it leads us to a life of fulfillment, purpose, and eternal significance.